So we just read Thunderboy Jr. by Sherman Alexie, and you know that in that story, Thunderboy Jr. didn't like being named after his dad. He wanted a name that was sort of more unique to himself, and he talks a little bit about where his name comes from, and then his dad gives him a new name, which is pretty cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed that story. We're going to talk about our own name stories. I'm going to start with mine and then give you a minute to draw your own name out and then talk with a friend about your own name. So my name, my whole name, and you guys call me Miss Bonesteel, but you know I have a real name too. And my full name is Elizabeth Rosemary Bonesteel. And so I could talk about each of these names. My first name, Elizabeth, my mom chose that. It was her favorite of all the baby girl names that she liked. I don't think she liked Fiona and Bridget as well, but she liked Elizabeth the best. And she loves what it means, which Elizabeth means consecrated to God. So it means that I was specially made just to do good things for God. And she was a person of faith, or she is a person of faith. And so that's why she loved that name. My last name, Bonesteel, it kind of has a Germanic background where it might have been Bonstel back a long time ago. But the name I really want to talk about is my middle name, because just like Thunderboy, my middle name is actually named after someone else in my family. So my middle name, Rosemary, is actually my grandma's name. So my mom's mom, Rosemary, her name is Rosemary. And what's funny is when her mom named her, she was the first girl in her family. And for whatever reason, she did not give my grandma a middle name. So my grandma's name was Rosemary McMaster, and she had no middle name. And she had 9 brothers and sisters, and they all had middle names. Some of them had 2 middle names. And my grandma never had a middle name. It was just Rosemary McMaster. And she always felt, I think, a little bit sad about that. So my middle name, even though she didn't get to have one, is after her. And I love being named after her because she is strong and she is smart and she can make me laugh. She and um, I'm a Libra. That's like my star sign. And she's an Aries. And Aries and Libra are almost seen to be opposites, but they actually can get along as well, even though they're different. So my grandma and I are a little bit different than each other. And sometimes we really bug each other. But at the same time, we love each other a lot. And I respect her intelligence and her hardworking way that she's lived her life, and all of her faith in God, and just the wonderful person she is. So you guys can write your own name, and Miss Bond still didn't get super creative today with writing out her name, but if you want to get really creative with your markers and crayons and write your name, I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to write your name out and think about how to tell your name story to your partner. You're only going to have 2 minutes to tell your story, just like I did. It's not a really long story, and maybe you're only going to tell about one of your 3 names, or maybe you have 4 names, or maybe you have 5, but you're going to pick something about one of your names or your entire name. And maybe it's why you like it. Maybe it's where your family history is from. Like I talked a little bit about Bonstel, which is my grandpa, my mom's father. That's all of their family's names. Maybe you're going to talk about who you were named after, like me and Thunderboy. That's what I talked about, and that's what Thunderboy Jr. talked about. Maybe you're going to talk about what your name means, like I knew what Elizabeth meant. So let us know all about your story of your name, maybe how you got it, maybe how your family picked out your name for you. Alrighty, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to write, and I'll come around and talk to you while you're doing that. And then you guys will have time to talk to a friend. Okay.